The landscape of digital trust is shifting beneath our feet, and the threats are already inside the gates.
It's one of those things that keep us awake.
What is true today in this world of particularly agentic AI is likely not going to be true 2-3 months.
We are no longer fighting the individual cheat, we are fighting an industry.
Obviously, over the last few years, we've seen more attempts at using AI to cheat on the assessments. So they might pay a cheating organization to arrange for somebody to take the test for them.
Organizations out there, they exist, they're robust, they're sophisticated, they are lucrative, they make a lot of money doing what they do.
Where we see candidates just joining sessions just to steal content. The intent is not even to clear the certification program.
Security does not come from tools, it comes from the orchestration. So you have multiple tools, multiple ways of addressing, of identifying, but how you put it all together.
If your organization is not having an active conversation on how this is affecting you and how it's going to affect your business model in 5 to 10 years, please start having that conversation.
But the real danger isn't just a stolen question or a compromised session.
I think the biggest risk probably comes from making a mistake and revoking somebody's credential when it shouldn't have been revoked.
Oh my God, the system has incorrectly flagged hundreds of potentially honest candidates overnight.
We came up with the phrase guilty until proven human.
Are AI a guard dog that prevents intrusions, or is it a scarecrow that looks intimidating but can't actually stop anything?
Talview that's already built something called AIOP, the intelligence operations platform, the assessment intelligence operations platform, which is beginning to look at multi-session intelligence. We need to break those collision rings. We need to make the test-taking experience secure, safe for organizations and for the stakeholders.
The threat has evolved, so must we.
Hey everyone, welcome to the next session of Exam Security Summit. This has become one of the most look forward to event for me every quarter when we do these sessions, because we get to share a lot of insights which we have garnered of the last 3 months every time we do this. And this time we have a very unique team, something I believe while is very crucial for the exam delivery industry, it's not been spoken enough about. And that's specifically about how do you manage security in center. In the recent past, we have had a lot of specific incidents which forced many leading exams back to the rooms. We had LSAT, which is a leading exam in the US, being pushed back to centers because of concerns around security. We had Australia mandating a lot of exams to be taken back to in-center or back to the room because of security concerns by the regulatory authority there. We've had some leading exams in UK, like CELT, again, taken back to the center by the UK Home Office. And this has become a recurring theme where when there is a security incident in an exam which has been delivered remotely, we run back to the room. But how secure are these centers? Our experience working with a lot of customers over the past decade tells us that centers were never really secure. They are just unwatched. The blind spot when it comes to center is the fact that we have spent a lot of time wiring up remote exams, building the instrumentation for remote exams to make them secure. But when it comes to center, there has hardly been any investments with respect to making these centers more secure. Some of the threats which has recently made remote exams less secure objectively has also impacted in-center exams. We've seen how a lot of remote exams have been infiltrated by the use of AI-enabled glasses, AI-enabled Bluetooth earphones, fake IDs which have been generated with AI, and a lot of those things have also entered the in-center domain. We've seen how the Chinese college entrance exam had to scan around 10 million glasses for AI assistants before the test takers were allowed into the exam center. TOEIC had to nullify a large number of test scores because of proxy testing ring in Tokyo Center, which is also significantly enabled with the use of AI. And the price of a proxy test taker itself significantly dropped because now these proxy test takers need not be an expert in the domain in which they are taking an exam. They just walk into a center equipped with much more tools than they traditionally were. And that's significantly dropping the cost of proxy test taking as well. So if you look at the in-center threat file, what's really at risk when it comes to exams being conducted in a center, there are 4 key aspects. The first one, with the advent of very easy access to fake IDs thanks to AI, there is a lot of issue with candidate impersonation. We have seen, especially in centers where there are no biometric checks or there are no server-based identity verification, which is happening where you're doing a database check with the ID, and it's largely relying on a human proctor visually inspecting the ID and verifying that the candidate is the same person who is mentioned on the ID itself. There are a lot of security gaps. The second aspect is the device is invisible. Most centers, no matter how up to date they are, it has become impossible for them to keep their human proctors up to date with the latest form factors of smart glasses, smart earphones, and other forms of wearables which have become very prevalent in the exam cheating space. When it comes to a remote exam, with the help of AI, you can continuously stay on top of the latest trends and the latest devices. But that's not the case in a center. And that has become a significant issue in the recent past. Now, the next threat is obviously one of the weak links in the in-center exam is the compromise of the human proctor itself. And we'll see how that has impacted a lot of exams in the recent past. And lastly, content security was always one of the weakest aspect of in-center exams, especially with the compromise centers and proxy rings and all of that. Content was never really secure. And one aspect of remote exam which made content security better was the traceability and the ability to limit access to content in remote exams, which is even today not available in centers. So looking at some of the recent incidents when it comes to these specific threats, the first one is around fake ID and impersonation. We saw a proxy ring in Tokyo where 893 TOEIC scores were nullified and 52 admissions were unwound, which because the center was just doing a document glance or whatever you call as a visual inspection of the ID. And they never really bound the person in sight to the credential which they were presenting. And this, which has become a hygiene in most online exams today, is largely missing with most of the centers today. So that's a significant exposure. When it comes to the device issue, I think South Korea was probably one case study which has been quoted by multiple reports recently, where one candidate with a mic in a face mask that was connected to the glasses. So unlike remote proctoring, where you have you have proctors in a centralized location, you have constant upgraded training, and they have most importantly AI assisting them. Invigilators are not really trained to spot specific form factors of glasses or earphones and all of that, and that has become a significant challenge. When it comes to insiders and the compromise centers, it's an issue which have been around for quite some time. We recently had a reported case of a Texas ring which was bribing proctors to let impersonators sit for certification exams. And one of the biggest, I would say, gaps here is the fact that it's very difficult to watch and catch what's going on. There are very little audit trails when it comes to what happens at centers compared to a remote exam, and that makes it significantly difficult. In remote proctoring, we have over the years evolved mechanisms like proctoring the proctor, monitoring the proctor's actions on screens the same way candidate's action is being monitored. Those things are still not implemented in center. And lastly, when it comes to content, I think one of the recent reports spoke about how uh, just 10 memorizers, 10 impersonation happening in a center can reconstruct a full item bank in many of these exams. So the session level proctoring, which happens in center with no ability to do cross-session intelligence, harvesting content becomes a very easy activity for organized operators. And that's something which, again, has been significant improvement in terms of the ability to protect content remotely with the help of uh, uh, minimizing screen captures, using other mechanisms to trace content and all that, which has not, or it's not very easy to implement in an in-center exam. So I think the focus in the past from an in-center exam has been to secure the room. But in today's day and age, it's not going to be enough to secure the exam itself. There are all these issues with identity, devices, insiders, content, all of which have those checks and balances available have not significantly improved in the last decade. So in our experience at Talview, we believe we have been able to evolve a blueprint of combining some of the best practices in the remote world with some of the best practices in center to create a more secure exam experience in centers. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We have actively worked with some of the leading exam publishers, exam bodies, to modernize the test centers with the help of some of the best practices from remote proctoring. So there are 3 shifts which we believe can actually close the gap from a security standpoint at center. The first one is obviously identity check, which is not just a glance at the ID or a visual inspection of the ID, but something which is more continuous, something which involves a machine-based verification of the ID, and also ensuring that there's a database check. So you're not relying on a human's skill level alone to verify that there is no impersonation and the ID which is being presented is a valid ID and not a deep fake. Second is digital monitoring on the workstation itself. Some of the best practices which we have evolved in remote proctoring over the years. It's fairly easy to deploy in a test center as well, whether it's monitoring of the desktop environment with a secure browser, which is mostly in place. But going beyond that, using a live VM to administer exam, so that it's very difficult for candidates to take pictures of the content and things like that. Using of a virtual a camera on the device itself to monitor, in addition to the surveillance cameras which is available in centers, and giving the proctor in center a dashboard which they can use to stay on top of the exam, and is not only relying on their physical navigation of the test center for security. And the third is cross-center intelligence, where you build that infrastructure to correlate identity, behavior, and exposure across centers and settings, so that you can easily track rings and harvesting networks using these patterns, just like we are able to do today in remote proctoring. What Talvy has been able to do with our recently launched in-center proctoring solution is that we are able to provide the best-in-class capabilities which is available in remote proctoring today in-center exams. So you are combining the best practices of what has evolved in the remote proctoring space over the last decade with the best practices which are already available at the center, creating a fully secure test taker experience. It starts with our ability to manage onboarding of candidates with less than 60-second onboarding policy, with a self-service for candidates where they can scan a QR code, upload a picture of their ID, get a face match or a biometric match, get a verification on whether there has been any tampering with the ID, any visual validation of the ID as required, the name and details are matching, and also do a database check to ensure that the ID itself is genuine and it's issued by a real trusted authority. The second key component of our in-center proctoring is the proctor dashboard, which is a digital dashboard for the center proctors to stay on top of everything which is happening in the center. It combines the ability to track device monitoring, camera monitoring, and the other best-in-class signals which are available for the proctor, so that the proctor is not just relying on physical navigation or physical proctoring of the center and the candidates in the center, but is using all the digital signals as well and can make interventions from wherever they are, without having the need to be physically in proximity of the candidate who has an alert against them. Third is our AIOP intelligence. For those of you who are not familiar with what AIOP is, it's our latest launch, a risk control panel, which provides intelligence across all the exams which are happening in your ecosystem. And we have now incorporated the center intelligence and intervention mechanism directly into the risk control panel. So you can get all of the AIOP's capabilities in center as well. Along with this, we also recently launched our center management capabilities, so that you are running this entire operation, whether you are partnering with third-party centers, whether you have your own centers, you're managing this entire operation with a single blueprint running as one single system. So what this enables you to have is track real-time availability, ensure that irrespective of how you are managing your center relationships, you are able to get real-time availability and facilitate real-time booking by test takers. You can track check-ins and check-outs in real time as well, so you know what's happening on the ground. If there is any need for an escalation, the centers are able to do that to you, and you can also make interventions as needed within the system. And lastly, it enables also an end-to-end risk management by bringing in a lot of signals which are traditionally not available for exam publishers, from biometric clustering to exposure correlation to other specific capabilities which will help you to catch the rings and track the fraud operators within your ecosystem. So I think, in conclusion, the last decade we have spent, thanks to digitization of exams and remote exam delivery, we have really secured remote proctoring. We have secured, the industry has secured the webcam. But now, with the comeback of test centers in many forms and shapes, and I do agree that many exams, especially when they're high stake, going back to test center does make sense, but you cannot be complacent and assume that the way exams have been conducted in test centers for many decades now, that is secure enough. There are new threats, and in this summit, we are walking into the test center. We're going to have very exciting sessions, panel discussions of practitioners who are facing some of these realities on the ground on a day-to-day. And I'm hoping that you will learn a lot of key insights, practices, and policies which you could implement at your end as a part of these conversations. Thank you.